What's happening, y'all? Different kind of day for me today. Taking my daughter to daycare. That beautiful wife done stepped up to help her husband out with the business this week. So she's off for like a week and a half off her job, which I truly appreciate. She's helping me get organized because, what is up with this squirrel? Move, bro. Ain't trying to flatline you on the street, boy. It was a squirrel just standing there looking at me like, bro, what are you doing? I will smash you on the street. I let him live, y'all. I ain't running the little squirrel over, but say hi, Melody. Say hi. Say hi. Taking her out to get her to daycare. I got a 9 o'clock appointment, a side consultation. I was working on some things last night. I was up to about 1, almost 2 a.m. Something I couldn't get over, and I need to help me stay organized. I'll show it to you here in a second. Because I don't got time to be writing down notes in my phone. I made a sheet. Y'all. Y'all know me. I love a little system. All right. So this right here is a sheet I created last night to help me not measure out properties, just capture all the information while I'm on site. More than likely, once I get back to the computer, or even if I don't get to the computer, I can give this sheet to, my guy Scott. I can give it to the wife or whoever is going to be handling the estimating process, or of course myself, and I'll be able to use this sheet and finish out the quote. Because sometimes I feel like there's variable factors that go into like some of the stuff that we do. Like some properties, they need, more topsoil or something, or a specialty or a specific type of grass type to work for their lifestyle. As far as, say if they got shade, I'm saying they need St. Augustine. If there's 3 farms that sell St. Augustine and 2 of them are out, that means there's only 1 that available. So stuff like that I got marked down on this sheet. I got my sod suppliers, I got the grass types, I got the site preparation. I got site preparation as far as, the machine, the Coco. You about to be a daycare baby girl. The time that it requires to, remove the lawn, whether I'm using a skid steer, sod cutter, whatever I'm using, a tiller, and also calculating like the man hours, how much time is of course going to take for us to remove that lawn. Just getting more detailed that way, and then I got our man hour rates and stuff like that on there. That way we can calculate every single piece of it, because in reality, what get measured get managed. That's just what it is. But let me show you the front of this sheet. Hopefully you can see it clear. You see that grid sheet? I love grid sheets, y'all. I love writing with grid sheets because it just helps me. I'm not the best drawer, but this grid sheet is where I'm gonna put the house in the middle of it. And it's really just a sketch. This ain't no perfect art. The goal is not for me to have like a perfect picture, but I should make it realistic so anybody else looking at this can understand. If you guys can see these columns, these sections I got over here in the side panes, the first part, it starts off with residential or commercial. We do commercial. We do commercial jobs. We do residential jobs. So as soon as I, know where I'm going, first, let me start at the top because I don't want to just jump through this sheet. The top, of course, get the customer's name. Of course, I write down the address and the date. The date is important because I need to know when we was at this property. Sometimes we do estimates, and the goal is to get them out within 24 hours. Some of them require additional timing based off of like them wanting other stuff, like some partial landscape, some partial drainage or irrigation. Like we run into stuff like that. It's very common. And it can extend the time that it takes to send out the estimate. So I got the date in there. That way, tracking, just another method of tracking, knowing when it's happened. And of course, I got their phone number I'll be locking in. Just basic information, basically point of contact information. And then after that, I got the current grass type, because in reality, when I visit their property, I want to know what type of grass they currently have right now that is not doing well, and the reason that they want to kind of transition to something different. A common thing that I run across is people be having like a centipede lawn, and they got dogs and they're occupying. They just don't like the centipede because they're used to other different type of turf type because it's a new build for them. So I'll mark down their current grass type. That way I know where it was before we actually transitioned it over to something different. Even though that's not super relevant, I do have the sunlight conditions. I have full sun, partial sun, or full shade, because I want to know what's the majority property conditions for this property. That way anybody looking at it, they know what grass types to check off as soon as they see what the sunlight conditions are. Of course, the next question is, do you have pets? It says pets. It has small, big. Sometimes when people have small dogs, it's not a huge problem when it comes to the grass type. The foot traffic is not as bad. But when it's a big dog, let's say 80 to 90 pounds, they got 3 of them. Yeah, we gotta be very mindful of the turf. Got to keep the turf in mind, because those heavy dogs are going to be a factor when it comes to the foot traffic on the property. So that's a few things. Then I have on here a box, do they have irrigation? It doesn't say that question, but it has irrigation and it says yes or no. I want to know, how are they going to care for this lawn? Are they going to properly care for this lawn after it's installed? By seeing if they have an irrigation system in place, it helps me know that, hey, they're not limited to the type of grass that they have, because it's going to be properly irrigated to an extent. They are still limited based on the proper conditions, but they have an irrigation system. It's just something to know. And if they don't have a irrigation system, you see I have a line under the irrigation that says estimated. So I can estimate how many zones they would actually need if I wanted to estimate that, and I can send that over to them, and I can have my subcontractor come in and actually subcontract and get it done. So that's another thing. I got that on there. And all I need is a number. I can look at the property and tell how many zones is needed for the lawn, the landscape, etc. The last thing that I have on this pane is, it says front lawn, it says side 1, side 2, back lawn, and then the total lawn space. This will be the square footage. And on this grid where you see all these squares, when I draw the house in the middle, I'll be drawing, like, if the side of the house is like 15 by 60, it's going to say that 15 by 60 on those specific spots. And all I got to do is add it up and put it into these boxes on the side. And then I pretty much got everything. I got the boxes at the bottom to say, what's the project, what part of this lawn are they looking to kind of renovate, front lawn, back lawn, or the full lawn. It's not common for people wanting to do like a side yard of their property. It's usually the backyard or the front yard. That's usually the priority, or the full lawn. And then I have equipment access. Does this property have easy equipment access? Meaning, am I going to be able to get in with a bobcat, a skid steer, side cutter, etc.? Sometimes people have very narrow fence lines when it comes to getting the backyards. In some situations, I had a handyman come in and he removed the whole fence out of the way. I'm like, hey bro, move this post, move all that crap out of the way. We need to get back here with a big boy. We ain't got time to be back here for extended amount of time, messing around with this small equipment, trying to get this 3,000 square feet lawn. Even though that's not a huge space, it just was necessary for us to get at least a mini skid steer back there. So equipment access is important. Then I got a note section, just in case I have any additional notes. And these are things that I'll be writing down as I'm talking to the client. This back piece is really what's essential for me. This is right here is going to help me capture just the metrics and understand the property. This back piece is what's for the business. As you can see, it says sod installation project breakdown, and it says project scope, and that's basically what type of grass: Centipede, St. Augustine, Georgia, Bermuda. I'll be checking either one or two of those offers, really based on conditions, but more than likely one. Then I got my sod supplier. They're going to be on here because I want whoever's doing this estimate to understand that this grass can only come from this place at the specific price point. After that, after I have all these numbers on the front, I can easily know what I need on this back side here as far as the square footage. I'll know how many pallets is required, etc. And then you see this bottom piece. It's pretty detailed, y'all. You can kind of take a closer look at it if you want. I was excited about it. I stayed up about 2 a.m. getting this together because I need to have a system. It's hard for me to operate when I don't have a system. Ain't that right, Melly? Say what's up. Say what up. Say what up. Say hi. Say hi. And baby something else. But I'm taking my baby into daycare. I'll be getting up with y'all in a second. I ain't shooting no video yesterday because it's a little bit busy, y'all. We had a lot of movement going on around. I'm trying to catch the wife up to speed on what's going on. Yes, she understands a lot that go on with the business, but you know, when she's not in it every day, you know, just catch her up on some things. But I'll touch base with y'all in a little bit.